our children. So we're going to do this in lieu of a time for all ages, but I'm going to invite all of our kids to come up front and join me on the carpet. I don't have a story for you, but I have something quite special. And I'm going to ask Caitlin and the kids to come up as well. Come on up. Here they come out of the nursery. Great. So today we will welcome Opal Mina Riva into this community officially. Child dedication is not so much a commitment of the child to us as it is a commitment of the community to nurture the development of this young life. It is our privilege and our blessing to take on this task, and our reward is the opportunity to see a young soul grow in our midst. When Amelia was just a baby, she was dedicated then, and we're glad to have Amelia up here for this ceremony. Also, we have grandparents and Jarrett. It's a family gathering. So I want to start out by asking everyone in the family, Julie and John Riva, Jackie and John Hassler, and Jarrett and Caitlin and Amelia, in bringing Opal to be here, to be celebrated and welcome to this congregation. You acknowledge the need for love and care so she can grow into her fullest self. Do you all promise, to the best of your ability, by your example, your love, and your wisdom, to guide Opal in the way of goodness, beauty, justice, and truth?
We do.
Great. And now, kids, can you stand up for me for just a minute? A lot of you probably know Amelia because she's been around Tapestry a bit, maybe in your classroom. She was camping with us, and it was awesome. And soon you will get to know Opal as she grows up a little bit and will be in your classrooms and getting to know you better. So as this little one grows up here at Tapestry, she'll be alongside you. As she does, will you welcome her and help her to find her way? Will you do your best to help her to understand that, like you, she is a precious, precious little person of worth and dignity? If so, please say, "We will." Can you say a little louder?
Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. You guys can sit down now for just a second. And now, congregation, will you, the members and friends of Tapestry, rejoice with this family in the beauty of their child? Will you take upon yourselves the sacred privilege and responsibility of nurturing her character and spirit, pledging to her and to her parents the love and care of this congregation? We will. Great. Now, to dedicate Opal today, we'll use a couple of elements: a budding flower and water. The budding flower symbolizes the unfolding of life in all its strength, its grace, and its possibilities. Water symbolizes the purity and freshness and the source that we all come from. And it reminds us that while Opal is with us here today and the focus of our attention, her life flows long past this community in other networks. So Opal, with the flower and water, ancient symbols of purity and beauty, I'm going to touch your head, your lips, and your heart. Your hands, I'm sorry. To dedicate your thoughts, your speech, and your deeds to that which is noble, beautiful, and true. Here you go. May your heart always know love, your mind search for truth and beauty, and your eyes always seek justice. May your hands find work which fulfills you, Your body carry you far, and your spirit forever seek the mountaintop. You are a blessing to this tapestry that we weave together, and to the world beyond our walls. We will do our best to remind you of that whenever you forget. Welcome to Tapestry.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now you guys have a class, and we will see you in a little bit. Have fun. Reds. And welcome the embrace of this quiet. Namaste. Amen, and blessed be. A lot of people don't know this because I wear contacts, but I have absolutely terrible vision. In order to read something, I have to hold it so close to my face that my eyes go crossed before I can read it. And I'm not exaggerating. Without serious corrective lenses, I would be in a world of hurt. I've spent my fair share of time in optometrist's office. It's not my favorite thing to do, but it's necessary. And I know this sounds a little bit strange, but I realized this week that going to the optometrist is the best metaphor I can think of for theological reflection. Both the optometrist and personal theology are about clarifying your vision of the world. It's not like using a telescope or binoculars or even those reading glasses that you can just buy off the shelf. Going to an optometrist is an individualized experience. It's just for you, based on your particular background and your particular need. And you know how the optometrist uses a whole bunch of different lenses. And the lenses get turned and flipped, and there are clicks and clacks, and I don't even know what he's doing. Theological reflection happens in much the same way. There's no one there asking us, number one or number two, number one or number two. But as we go through life and we bump up against different challenges or experience new depths of joy, we make adjustments in the way that we see things. We flip and replace our old ideas with new ones until we see a world more clearly and make sense of our life within that world. Each of us has different experiences that shape the way that we see the world. We have different emotional gifts and challenges. So we customize the right combination of lenses to see our world. Just like glasses or contacts, the goal isn't to have the most powerful vision. I mean, remember, if you can see 100 yards away really clearly, you're probably not going to be able to read a newspaper. And if you have super detailed microscopic vision up close, you can't see far enough to drive a car. We choose the prescription that helps us clearly in our daily lives. It's not about knowing all the lofty language of academic theology. That can be helpful sometimes, but it's not enough. Similarly, our beliefs have to consider a wider range than our personal, individual emotional experience. So in crafting our personal belief, we bring together a set of ideas that are mature enough to pull us beyond our personal experience, but simple enough to apply to everyday life. It's a chore of each one of us to find that set of ideas and beliefs. This past Thursday afternoon, I was in Laguna Woods meeting with our discussion group there. We had a great discussion this month. One of the questions for this discussion guide that we used was, how would you characterize the theological diversity of your congregation? Now, we had a really nice discussion going until I got to this point, and they kind of looked at me like, we have no idea. And I realized that no one seemed to have a clue about what other people at Tapestry believe about theological questions. So I said, why don't we do a quick survey of what we believe here? And I asked them, and I will ask you, would you say you believe in God? Is God a name for something that you believe is real and active in your life? Just quick show of hands. Okay, awesome. And for others, please raise your hand if God is something you either don't have an experience of or you feel like doesn't exist. Raise your hands. Awesome, thank you. And feel free to turn around and look. This is actually pretty interesting stuff. Okay, next question. This is actually a multiple choice. There are 3 answers. What happens when we die? Option number 1 is the show is over and the lights go out. Option number 2 is that our specific personality continues to exist, either here or in some other realm. Option number 3 is some sense of ourself continues through biological continuation of matter and energy. Okay, so this is fascinating. Okay, let me go back to 1. Number 1, lights go out, show is over. Okay. Number 2, our personal identity in some way continues on. You're Unitarian, you can vote twice. Number 3, an essence continues through biology or through energy. Okay. Lots of multiple votings going on, I think. So the third and last question was, do you pray? This is a simple yes or no. So please raise your hand for yes. Okay, and raise your hand for no. Awesome. Perfect. So we did this same thing in our group, and I told them, and I think it was true, that our little mix there was sort of a small example of our theological diversity here at Tapestry. And we got a lot of yes and no's and black and white answers. But then I asked them about prayer. I asked them, why do you pray? To whom or to what do you pray? Does it change things? When do you pray? Why do you pray? And that discussion group includes people who are clearly atheists and others who are clearly theists. They believe in God. What we found was a great deal of commonality in our beliefs. We all believed in sort of a creative aspect of the universe. We all believe that being alive is an amazing and beautiful thing that we are grateful for. We all found ourselves in those moments of profound beauty expressing gratitude in our hearts. Some of us called it prayer, others said it was just a feeling. In a very similar way, in those times of deepest longing and fear, we found that each one of us reached out, either speaking aloud or in sort of non-verbal internal thoughts. In times of despair, each one of us cast our deepest longings out into the universe, even when we knew it wouldn't be immediately answered. That conversation reminded us all of how similar our beliefs are. even when we use a whole lot of different vocabulary to describe them. It also showed us how helpful it is to focus on what we do in order to understand what we believe. We don't learn a whole lot when we ask, do you believe in God? But when we talk about prayer, suddenly we had a much richer discussion. When do you reach out to the universe in gratitude or for help? To whom are you sending those ideas? And what's the response? Instead of theological formulas written by other people, we can look at our own actions and priorities to see what it is that we believe. It just takes a few questions. Why is probably the most important question. Why are you spending your time that way? Why does your budget look like that? Why are you so happy in this moment? Why are you afraid? Our actions and our commitments are a great window into what we actually believe. And I would love to have that conversation with each one of you and ask why, but sermons don't work that way, unfortunately. So instead, I'm going to ask why of some of our Unitarian Universalist activities and commitments. Why do we care so much about learning? Why do we care so much about activism and social justice work? These two things are a huge aspect of our Unitarian culture, but why? In our covenant every Sunday morning, we say that we seek truth in love. We don't just accept knowledge that comes to us. We make an explicit commitment to one another to seek truth. And this curiosity goes beyond our covenant on Sunday mornings. We have a reputation for being an intellectually rigorous group of folks. We're highly educated for the most part. 81% of Unitarians have some college experience. Compare that to 50% of the US population. The only religious communities in the United States with higher rates of education are Hindus and Reformed Jews. Now, I don't bring all of that up to brag, to say that we're better than anyone. In fact, our bookishness very much gets in the way sometimes. But our commitment to education points to a shared value. We go out of our way spending a great deal of time and money in the pursuit of knowledge. Why? Why is learning a value to us as people of faith? I think there are a couple of different reasons for this. One is a belief about who we are as human beings. We believe that our capacity for reason and our capacity for moral growth is a gift. It's one of the most beautiful gifts that we have as human beings. Yes, it is the fruit of evolution. It's a function of our physiology. Still, our capacity for reason is a gift to be used to the fullest. It's one of the most powerful tools that we have to align ourselves with the good in the world. Reason isn't an obstacle to faith. Quite the contrary, our minds enable us to connect to the universe and to strive to understand the holy. That's part of why we want to learn. The second reason that we search for truth is a reflection of the way we see the world around us. We know that we're part of the story of a universe. And science is now able to tell us a whole lot of detail of that story. From a magical moment of creation of something out of nothing, to unfathomable times of chaos and violence, We know that in an impossibly unlikely turn of events, one of billions of stars had one planet with just the right ingredients, including enough heat from that sun, so that life began to emerge. It was so simple that we probably wouldn't recognize it as life, but it was the beginning of something new, mysterious and magical. Life, living, breathing, cooperating cells, and life began to organize itself into more and more complex systems through millennia of cooperation and struggle. Life began to learn to love and to recognize its own existence and to know that that existence is a gift. We UUs want to learn because we know that this magical story of creation is holy. We believe that through knowing more about this amazing world, we can strive to align ourselves with the creative process. And we know that our spiritual well-being and the survival of our species depend on an ability to cooperate with that creation. We are a bookish, studious people. We deeply want to know the world around us, not just out of habit or because it's our culture. It's a reflection of the way we understand what it means to be human, and it's a response to the way we see our world. To understand what we believe, you just have to start asking why we do what we do. Another thing that we're known for is our commitment to justice. We're known for standing up and speaking out on a wide range of issues. And yes, most faith traditions do some social justice work. But we are a tiny, tiny religious tradition. And yet, at every progressive rally you go to, you are bound to find at least a few Unitarians there in their bright yellow standing on the side of love shirts. We love a good justice cause. It's what draws a good portion of our members here. But why? What does our commitment to justice mean? Most simply, we engage in that work because we believe that every soul is sacred and worthy. No one is damaged goods. No one is a lost cause. No one gets left behind for any reason. Parts of us may be broken, but deep down, every single person has something of worth. A lot of us know standing on the side of love is the slogan for our justice efforts in recent years. That slogan speaks to our commitment to human compassion, but it also invokes a much older piece of our theology. It brings up universalism, the idea that God isn't all about punishment for sins. God's actually about love. Universal love that is available for everyone. And our concept of God is somewhat different from the universalists of the 1800s. Still, whether you call it God or the universe, we believe in love that is offered throughout creation. It's a spirit of life, a creative force, a goodness that makes this glorious life possible. By standing on the side of love in our justice work, we align ourselves with an all-encompassing love. That universal love that isn't for a few privileged folks, but is available to everyone. Those are two of our highest priorities as UUs. We learn and we stand up for justice. We don't do those things just because it's in our culture, or because they're fun. We do it out of our religious beliefs. And your commitments are also driven by a whole network of beliefs. I've done my best to explain why we do what we do as a faith community. Now it's up to you to think about why you do what you do as an individual. It's up to each of us to think through our commitments. It's up to each of us to assemble a unique set of lenses that helps us see the world more clearly and to live our lives more fully. And I promise you that task is a whole lot easier to accomplish in a conversation than on your own. Amen.
We extinguish this flame, knowing the light remains in the warmth and compassion of our hearts until we are together again.
During the postlude today, we have a short video to honor the tapestry members we have lost over the years. Jim Semmelroth put this video together. It's a powerful reminder. It was especially to me to see so many faces that I don't even know. It's a reminder of the many lives that have woven into this community over the years. So would you please take someone's hand near you for these closing words? Hold on to what is good, even if it's a handful of earth. Hold on to what you believe, even if it's a tree which stands by itself. Hold on to what you must do, even if it's a long way from here. Hold on to my hand, even when I've gone away from you. Now go in peace and let the light within you be a blessing to the world.